Jones, John, what makes him effective?
Well, it's funny, you watch the tapes on him. He's a long, I mean, everybody uses the term long, but they list him at 6'8", he's thin built, pretty looking stroke. And then you look down and he's averaging 12.3 a game. When you watch the film, it's like he's scoring basket after basket after basket. But lately, he has been scoring a lot more. Dual threat, off the dribble and off the catch. He's more of a 3 that's playing the 4. So we have to make sure that we guard him out on the floor and make him take tough 2s instead of catch and shoot 3s.
John, people have talked about changing up the starting lineup, but is there anything else you can do to make them start faster and not get in those holes early?
If we had to answer that question, we could do it. You know what? It seems like we're ready to play. Pre-game warm-ups have been really good. I think it was a carryover of a really good shoot-around that morning. Most teams don't shoot that early for a noon game. We typically do, but we don't go that long, 25 minutes. And we thought we were ready. I don't think that they were prepared themselves enough for how physical the game was going to be. That's something that you really can't simulate, and that was certainly the case, especially early in the game.
John, when you talk about Jones, how are James Young and Aaron coming along in terms of being perimeter defenders?
I think at given times they're good. They have their lapses, like all young kids do, but these kids aren't really that young anymore. We're almost 2/3 of the way through. On-ball defenders, they're solid. If we can minimize them stopping and play entire possessions and then come out when they're tired, because we don't need a breakdown like that. That's what we did at Arkansas. We pointed it out to them on film. We had fewer of those against Tennessee. Obviously the rebounding in the Tennessee game was the difference in, a closer game or a game that we could have, stretched it out a little bit.
Just talk about Willie and the problems Willie's had the last couple of games.
Again, it was, Tennessee game was just a physical game. And, even though he's 7 feet tall, he has to fight a little bit. Really didn't position himself well on the shot. And, got thrown around a little bit, and he can't do that against big rugged guys like that. And that's something that we worked on yesterday at practice, and we'll do that later on tonight when we practice.
Does he just have trouble with bigger guys where he's so athletic?
Typically, no. I mean, he's not the strong. He's not the strongest, but he has to. He has to anticipate. He has to make contact. You can't just worry about out jumping someone. If you're not going to get it, don't let your man get the ball and just keep him off the glass. And that's what Maimon did with Julius in the game, and was very effective in it.
Is rebounding an effort thing? Is that how you look at it?
Well, I mean, you look at our stats going into that game, we were plus 13. They were plus 6, I believe. We have to be up there somewhere in national leaders of rebounding margin, but we got our butts handed to us against Tennessee that way. Yeah, it's effort. It's what we call it the no ball watching. As the shot goes, you're looking at the ball as opposed to checking out your man and keeping him off the glass. We made a point of that yesterday, and it was better yesterday, and we'll do it again today.
Were you surprised coming off a game you lost by not boxing out on the last play that the very next game that you have such trouble rebounding the ball? I think those guys would be more sort of bought into it.
We weren't surprised. I mean, don't quote me on this, but I don't know. That might have been the first game we got out-rebounded all year. If not, it was a couple. It might have been by a 1 or a 2 margin. To give up 20 offensive rebounds was a ton, but some of those, there were 3 or 4 offensive rebounds within the same possession. So those add up quick on tips. Those count as, so it wasn't as glaring, when you watch the tape, but there still were 20. But the Arkansas game, we stopped playing. We thought, the ball wasn't going to go in, and that was it. We were going to keep playing, but that wasn't the case.
Is that natural? I mean, John, do you?
It's a tough thing to break. I mean, to not ball watch, especially when you're a guard. Guards got to get long rebounds, and guards need to crack down on big guys, especially when you're on the weak side, because that's where a majority of the balls go. So if a big goes to block or a big's out on the perimeter, that guard's responsibility is to crack down and keep that big off the glass. And it's something that we work on every day. Sometimes we're good at it, but I thought defensively we were really good in the Tennessee game, doing some things that we hadn't done before, and that's good to see that they're carrying some things over.
John, at this point, in what areas can this team improve the most?
I would say sustain playing entire possessions. Our execution is getting very good. Free throw shooting was good the other day. We just got done shooting fouls now, which we shoot them every day. Our transition game is getting better. Our decision making is getting much better. We could see that the few practices before our last game. Thought Andrew Harrison had a terrific game because he carried over the things that we've been working on in practice, not because of his stats and his line. That was evident and obvious, but he's doing it here. And when your point guard does that, it helps everybody for sure.
So how's Stein responding to the practices that you guys have run through the last couple of days?
Well, we only practiced once since the game. We practiced yesterday for about an hour and a half. He did fine.
And I would assume he gets that physicality in practice.
Yeah, but sometimes yes, sometimes no, because Julius and Alex are probably our two most physical players. They're not Maiman and Stokes. And they're on the same team most of the times in practice. When we break down individually, they can be. But he knows, and he knows he has to fight. And if he doesn't fight, he can't be on the court, and he knows that, and Cal's explained that to him, and he did fine yesterday.
John, I remember last year when Elson Turner went off.
He's not back, is he?
John, we asked John about starting Poitras on him as a defender, and he basically said his assistants talked him into it. I'm wondering if that was you.
Well, you'd have to ask Orlando and Kenny. I think I was sick that day. No, I just watched that tape this morning, and you know they're an entirely different team, and so are we. And you can't get a whole lot out of last year's film for a lot of these teams because we're altogether new, and most of these teams have lost key parts to their team.
How extraordinary was that? You looked at it again, apparently. Was it extraordinary as it would seem by the numbers, or was it?
No, I watched the game we won. I didn't watch.
Oh,
the
you didn't
game
watch
we
the
lost.
first
Yeah. I'm smarter than that, Jay.
James was talking about his shot, some things with the shoulders, things with landing on one foot, and he said he's trying to fix all those things, but he also thinks maybe he's overthinking some of that stuff. How do you change habits in a shot and not make a guy overanalyze it?
Get in the gym and practice. I mean, big thing with James is having his shoulders, keeping him, not getting him back. He's a good shooter. I mean, I know he's not shooting at the percentage that he would like, but he's putting the ball in the basket. He's just creative. And the way he reminds me of the kid we had at Memphis, Chris Douglas Roberts. Just a little unorthodox. It doesn't look like it's going in, but somehow it finds a way to go in. And we have all the confidence in the world for him. And, the shot that he made at Arkansas, the one that Andrew made at Arkansas were big shots, and it showed us something. And there were a lot of good things that we took out of that game as well. But just getting in the gym and be repetition.
That shot at Arkansas, he said the first one that he missed, he felt himself, felt his shoulders back and sort of adjusted when he got the ball back. Does that demonstrate some growth from him, that he's aware, that he can feel that?
Shooters know. I mean, a shooter's going to feel like it's going in. Hopefully they feel like it's going in every time they let it go. It's just a confidence thing, and just go shoot shots. And, just do it the same way every time.
Jared's minutes have picked up and Dominique's minutes have gone down. Is that just the way they've been practicing? Has there been another factor in that?
Well, I don't know what the factor would be. They both practiced really hard, but even last game, they both, Jared played a little bit more, but when they were both in there, they both gave us energy that we didn't have, and it picked us up. And that's something that as we went back and watched the film, that those two kids did that, And they may not score a bunch of points or do whatever, but it's getting into the legs of the other team, you know, and just bringing that to let us, you know, hopefully pick us all up. It's a